As we previously discussed, the root user is the most powerful user on a Linux operating system. As you begin to hire more people, you're going to want to delegate some responsibilities and more advanced tasks for those engineers to do. And this would require some privilege escalation. When I say privilege escalation, I simply means that you give people more powers they need in order to do the work that they need to do. And so in the Linux operating system, there is a very important file. That file is called the /etc /sudoers. So under the etc directory, root, etc, there is a file called sudoers file. And that file handles all the permissions on the system. In this presentation, I am going to work with you in creating a new user and then giving him more powers to be able to do very advanced tasks in the system. This file is very critical. If you make a mistake on this file, you can lose your system or your system can become unstable. When a hacker hacks your machine, that is the file they're looking for in order to escalate their privileges, to increase your rights in the system. So let's proceed, guys. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut /etc /sudo file. Sudoers. When I hit enter, it brings up so much material. So I'm going to clear my screen. I'm going to do less instead. Less. This is /sudo file. And you can see here, it says sudoers allow particular users to run various commands as root user without needing the root password. You give them power, they can do things that the root user can do, the most powerful person can do, but they don't need the root password. They can use their own password. So it's like the power of attorney. You give the power of attorney to somebody to sign legal contracts on your behalf, or in a case where you are incapacitated. This is what we do with the sudo file. I'm going to go to the bottom of the file. I'm using less, I'm hitting enter to go down. And I want to show you a quick example of those privileges. If you look here, there is a user here called root. It means he can root, and we say all is equal to all, and then all. It means root can run all commands on this system as any user on the system, and he can run any command he wants, all. That's just the meaning of that. So I'm going to get out of this file right now by hitting Q. And by the way, if you come to this file, you see these hashtag signs, this pound, these are comments. So the writer will say same thing without a password. Or allow people, this one you see, there's a group here called will. If you add anybody in this group called will, he automatically gets these permissions. Remember when I talked to you guys about groups, it says the command below allows people in the group will to run all commands. Now, they can even proceed to run all commands without putting in a password. That's what it means by no pass WD. I will take you into some live demonstrations, and I think as we do them, you will understand them better. I'm going to hit Q to quit this less command. I'm out of there. Now, we're going to do something, guys. I want to create a new user. And by the way, I'm the root user right here. You can see over here, I'm the root user. I'm going to create a new user. His name is going to be called Joe. And then we're going to SSH into the system like Joe. So user add Joe. And I hit enter. He's been added. I'm going to create a password for Joe. Pass WD Joe. Because you cannot SSH if you don't have a password. I hit enter. It's going to ask me what's the username for Joe. What's the password I want to give Joe. I'm going to put it. I just said fire. It's saying it's shut, and that's fine. I can do anything I want. I am the root user. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check my IP address, IP add. This is my IP, 10.0.0.189. I'm going to SSH in this machine like Joe. So I'm going to open a Windows terminal, or we can use the same. I'm using Mobile Xterm as my terminal here. You can use any one you want, but I'm just going to go here and open the. In fact, I'll do it right here on the Mobile Xterm terminal. I click here and I say SSH Joe at the IP was 10.0.0.189. I can literally highlight and copy 10.0.0.189. When you highlight, it's selected, and I right click, that's paste. I hit enter. It's asking for the password for Joe. It was FIRE, fire. So as I hit enter, there you go. I'm logged in this machine. Look, Joe at Red Hat server. I'm logged into this machine like the guy called Joe. Excellent. So we're going to do a few things, guys. I would go ahead and I will close my Ubuntu server. Let me close this other windows. And I have the Red Hat server here. With mobile extend, I'm going to create 2 pages where we can see. I will split the screen so we can see everything we are doing side by side. So this is 192.10.0.0.89, and Joe is here. He's the same in the same machine IP add. Remember, we created Joe, gave him a password. He was now able to SSH in this machine. So I'm going to try here as Joe. Guys, look over here. This is Joe, and over here this is root. So I'm going to just split this screen into 2 vertical terminal. So over here is Joe and over here is root. So let me clear my screen. And Joe, this is Joe at Red Hat. I'm going to clear here. Now, if you're not using mobile extend, feel free to use Windows Terminal. I'm just splitting just to show you guys easily what's happened. Remember, Joe has SSH over here, and I am the root user over here. So I'm going to ask Joe to create a new user. The new user for the guy is going to be called David. So this is Joe at Red Hat server. I am the root, the most powerful guy at Red Hat server. 2 of us are in the same system. If I write a W and I hit enter, you will see that S David is here, S David, even Joe is logged into the system. So I'm going to clear my screen. I'm going to come in as Joe. I'm in Joe's terminal. I'm going to do a user add David. I'm going to add David. Hit enter. Listen to this. Permission denied. Cannot log etc/passwd. Try again later. I'll try it again. Nothing. Permission is denied. Why? Because Joe is a regular user. Sometimes we use the command sudo, and then we write what we want to do. When you say sudo, it means you've been given the power of attorney to do what you want to do on the system. So say sudo user add David. I'm doing that as Joe. So when I hit enter, see, it's going to prompt for Joe's password. It says, we trust you have received the usual lecture from the local system administrator. It usually boils down to these 3 things. Number 1, respect the privacy of others. Number 2, think before you type. With great power comes great responsibility. Because he has evoked this command that he has authority to do things on the behalf of the root user. He's been given the right. That's what sudo means. So I'm going to put in my password for Joe is FIRE fire. I hit enter. It still says again what? Joe is not in the sudo file. This incident will be reported. It's going to report. So he tried to use sudo to add a user David, and the system rejected that attempt. Why? Because he's not a member of the sudo file. Now, remember the sudo file I told you at the beginning is the cat/etc/sudoers. There you go. That file, that's where he has to belong. If I put information about him in this file, then he'll be able to do that. But right now, he's not a member. Let's take a look at what happens here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and vim this file. Vim/etc/sudoers. I want to edit the file, so I'm using vim. Sudoers. There is no vim on this system. I'm going to install vim. Since it's a Red Hat system, I will say dnf install vim. I know that we haven't done installation yet, but we are going to get to it. Why? Hit enter. That's going to install vim on the system, and I will have vim to do what I want to do with. Okay, vim has been installed. I will minimize my screen, and I will go and I will vim the file vim/etc/sudoers. When I hit enter, it brings all of these files to me. In fact, I'm going to leave the split screen and go to a single screen so we can see more stuff. It's a single screen. I'm going to keep going down. I want to go to the bottom of the screen. Remember, I'm using vim, and towards the bottom, I see a place here called root. Root says root, all is equal to all. I already explained this to you. I'm going to add Joe. I hit I to insert in vim, I. So as you hit I, it tells you that you're inserting. Now, it also warns you that it's a read-only file. That's fine. I'll show you how to save it. I'm going to put Joe, J-O-E, that's the guy. What privilege I want to give Joe? I could literally type all of this, all is equal to all. I just right-click and I'll copy it. And I paste that. So that's what I've done, guys. If you cannot copy it, just type it. You type what you see above you. All is equal to all. When you do this, you've essentially given Joe the power of attorney to run anything as root. Remember, this file can only be edited by root or anyone who has root privileges. So I've added Joe. I say Joe on this system, all of this system and all systems, you can run all commands as any user. So I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to put shift colon. I'm going to write W, Q. W is to save, Q to quit. But it had warned me that it was a read-only file. So I'm going to add an exclamation mark in the end to make sure it saves it by false. And I hit enter. There you go, that file is saved. Now I have given Joe the power of attorney. I'm going to try now to add David again as Joe. I've gone back to this other page, guys. This is root. Now I'm going over here to become Joe again. I'm right here, I'm Joe. So let me split the screen and show you what's going to happen, guys. So if I come here as Joe, I clear my screen, I do the same thing again, user add. Let me do sudo user add David. As soon as I hit enter, it's asking for the password of David. I give David's password. David's password is, not the password of David. It's asking the password of Joe because Joe is creating an account for David. So Joe's password is fire. I hit enter. And there you go. Boom, no error. It's done it, guys. And we can confirm. I could write ID David. You'll see David's been created. There you go. This is David. His ID is 5005. And you see David's created. If I go and cut the etc /cat/etc /shad pass WD file. That's the file that has all the users. And you can see David has been created. In fact, Joe, because I've given him that permission, he can actually just switch as root if he wants. Now he can just say sudo su. This means that I have been given the power of attorney. I can become root if I want to be root. And I'm going to switch to the root user, super user. I'm switching to super user and I hit enter. It's going to ask for Joe's password. And well, I already put the password before, so remember as the password. Look where I am right now. I'm now root instead of Joe. So when you go in the etc.sudo file and you give somebody powers, that is how he can do anything he wants on the system. In fact, I'm going to create another user right now. I'm going to create it as the root over here. User add. I'm going to create a user called Paul. And I'm going to create a password for Paul. I'm going to call it fire. Excellent. Now, I can even switch to Paul if I want to switch to Paul. In fact, I'm going to write exit here on the Joe terminal. Exit to become Joe again. Now I'm going to say sudo su. You just say su. I want to switch as Paul. P-A-L. That's what it means. Su means I can super switch as Paul. When I hit enter, it's asking for Joe's password. You want to transform to Paul? Yeah, give me your password. So the password is fire, F-I-R-A. And look at this. Now Joe has transformed to Paul in this server. He becomes somebody and do whatever he wants. That's the power of the sudo command. And I like you to go ahead and practice it. Create a user and then give him privileges and play with that command. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next lesson.